Welcome back, one and all, to Scramble Drill. We are coming at you, reacting and tilting from week 2 of fantasy football here in 2024. I'm Josh Johnson. Over there is Mr. Ben Watts. How are the emotions after week 2 has decimated your lineup, Ben?
Well, I'll be honest. There's really only one injury that just took my soul this weekend. I have been incredibly fortunate everywhere else. I've been lucky. I have dodged most of them. I actually had a really solid week overall. The only thing that can make this week perfect is I need about 25 points from Bijan Robinson tonight. We're recording this on Monday. Halfway through the episode, I am going to start watching the game, so I may be a little distracted halfway through and on, but it is what it is.
The injury bugs have come for my throat in the Granddaddy the Mall.
You got popped this week.
2 weeks in, A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey, all injured in the Granddaddy Mall. And it's not just like these are random players. It's not like this is Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf. These are like
that's not
all
random
in my
Those
starting
are
line.
Solid players.
Well, they're solid, but let's face it. In Granddaddy Mall, they are not in my starting lineup.
Yeah,
all four of the guys that have gotten injured
we
were
get
starters.
it, Josh. Your team is really good. DK and Pittman are backups for you. Ooh, we
did
get
slot
it. Stop
in DK
bragging.
this week, so I got the benefit from
That felt pretty
the
good.
spike week.
That felt pretty
It's
good.
always nice when you get one of 2 DK spike weeks that actually score points for you.
I'm kind of excited when we get to the Seattle matchup. There's a lot to talk about there, and I'm really interested.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into. Why don't we start here with all the injuries that are worth talking about before we preview or before we react to week 2 and all the stuff that he gave us. We already said it. Cooper Kupp, he is
That's the one that
most
hurt me.
likely.
That's the one that hurt me.
He's most likely going on IR with a sprained ankle.
So, it's safe to say no Rams are startable at this point. No Rams. Kyron, you can start him, but Kyron is like low. You drop him down a lot because he gets a lot of work, but the offensive efficiency is going to plummet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They can't catch a break, and it's not just the receivers. The offensive line is getting destroyed too.
They lost both of their tackles against Detroit.
Yes. And now they have lost their 2 stud receivers. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. They have Matthew Stafford and some scarecrows out there.
Dude, fire up Colby Parkinson, the tight end.
Barf.
Even though he didn't do anything. I was actually low-key excited about him, but he didn't do anything either.
The former Seattle Seahawk doing what he does best. Disappear.
Things get tough.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Puka Nacua, he's on IR. Christian McCaffrey is on IR.
I think I was listening to the solo episode you recorded, and he went on IR like 4 hours after you dropped that episode.
What was the piece of advice? It was wait until we get some IR notifications about Christian McCaffrey before you panic.
He goes
and
on
then 2
IR
hours
like an hour later.
Yeah. It's like, oh, God, guys. Man, it's so tough to stay ahead of the news as it comes in, but what can you do?
So the Madden curse is back full effective, we can say. I mean, he did his Madden cover, and we may not see Christian McCaffrey on the field till like week 8.
The Madden curse is undefeated. People don't want to talk about it, but it's never lost.
It needs to stay away. Actually, Josh Allen's already had his. We're good. Stay away from Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
No. Justin.
Do not do it.
Do not accept that.
Do not do it.
Do not do it.
I don't want it. How panicked are you on a scale of 1 to 10 about Christian McCaffrey? Because
I'm like,
I don't know. I don't know how panicked to be.
You might be lower than I am. I would go. There's a certain level that you can't even be panicked because he's on IR. Like, your hands are kind of tied. There's nothing you can do for at least 4 weeks. They said possibly 6 weeks. It could be long, could be that time. When is their bye is actually a question I would like to look at because that'll play into it. Their bye is in week 9.
I don't know.
I would not be shocked if they kept him out till then.
That would be awful.
I'm not saying they will per se, but I could see it happening. Keep him out till the bye, come back after. I'm probably a 5 out of 10. He's on IR, so obviously there's at least 4 weeks. There's nothing you can do. And it is kind of a lingering injury that he's got, so it could flare up during the season when he plays. Who knows? I'm not a medical expert, but that's what I've read is it can linger. Not saying that it necessarily will for him, but I don't want to say for sure he's going to be 100% when he comes back.
Yeah, it's brutal. Isaiah Pacheco broke his leg on Sunday afternoon against the Bengals. Fractured the fibula. He'll be out
Late
6
in the
to 8
game,
weeks.
too.
He goes on IR.
He didn't even need to be in the game when it happened.
No, it snuck up on you, and I honestly just thought he had an ankle sprain. And
Yeah, I mean he walked.
he broke his leg.
Not walk off. He limped off the field. So that's crazy.
Brutal. Deebo Samuel will miss a couple weeks with his own calf strain. So there's something going along in the 49ers locker room, apparently.
Brock Purdy, I think, is it safe to say we can lower him basically to a streaming option at this point? He's not a top 12 option at quarterback anymore?
No, not with your two most impactful offensive players not on the field. And not to mention, Brandon Ayuk has yet to round into form after missing all of training camp.
I would say
he'll
probably
get there.
Will now. He probably will now, especially with the volume he's about to get.
You would think.
At least for fantasy he will. Or should.
I have a feeling he just wasn't in football shape, and so he just doesn't look himself out on the field. And it takes a while to get back into that football shape. I wouldn't be panicked on him, but yeah, he steps into a bigger role now.
Yep.
Last thing here, this dropped a couple hours before recording. We're recording this Monday evening, and Bryce Young was benched earlier today in favor of Andy Dalton after he essentially looked like the worst quarterback that has ever played football 2 weeks in a row.
Sorry, Bryce.
Tombstone, graveyard, the inscription reads, "Sorry, Bryce." And that's it.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, dude. They're poised to have the first overall pick this coming draft class. Problem is, this coming draft class is not solid for quarterbacks.
No,
I mean,
not.
Obviously somebody will emerge. You got Quinn Ewers out there as a guy. I'm not sold on Shedeur Sanders or Carson Beck. I don't love either of those guys. I don't love Quinn Ewers, I'll be honest, but yeah, it's a tough situation.
It is pretty tough. I don't have a whole lot to say about it just because there's nothing really new on the Bryce Young front other than the fact that he looks bad, which he did all of last season. He has never looked good as an NFL player, so there's nothing new to this.
I love one tweet I saw. It was during the debate last week. It was one guy like, why are the candidates not talking about the real topics? Like, when are we going to get rid of David Tepper?
Honestly, that dude needs to go.
I think the Panthers are toast as long as he's there.
Yeah, he's not great. Do you want to tilt to some week 2 results around the NFL?
Let's have some fun.
Let's start on Thursday night. I got a chance to talk about it a little bit. So my takes are out there. I just want to hear your general thoughts. Bills, Dolphins. Do you have any James Cook, Devon Achane, Tua Tagovailoa takes just sitting on the back burner?
None. A ton. Not a ton, I guess. You got. Achane's legit. Achane's absolutely legit. All the worries that I've had I guess I still do have, to a certain extent, the health end of it. Like, can he continue this workload? But as it sits, if he's going to get it, I mean, he's a top 3 play every week, especially with the injuries. Top 5 at worst. So, yeah, lock in Devon Achane. He's running the ball. He's catching the ball. James Cook, I'm going to temper expectations a little bit. I'm with you, fully being on Achane. He's the guy. James Cook did only have 11 carries. Now, the Bills kind of blew out the Dolphins, so I don't know if I'm going to read that much into it. But wildly efficient, scored the touchdowns. I did have one guy ask me, dude, I think with this new offensive coordinator, like, I'm a little bit worried about Josh Allen. Like, James Cook's kind of taking over there. I'm like, dude, no. Like, come on now.
Nope.
Come on now.
Nope.
They blow out, and this is like the first time in Josh Allen's career he hasn't had to do everything to win the game.
Yeah, they just didn't need him. They didn't need to throw the ball. When you monkey stomp a team like that and you can just rely on your run game to destroy somebody, they're going to do that. You don't when you don't have to deploy Josh Allen, they're going to do it.
He's like, man, Josh Allen didn't look great. I'm like, yeah, he did. Because he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are like happy to give him a break, honestly.
Yes. I think it made Sean McDermott probably giddy that they could hand the ball off to the running back inside the 5 and not have to have Josh Allen score the touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, he threw the ball 19 times. Like, Josh Allen is one of the highest volume passers in the league. Like, he constantly throws it 30, 40 times. So the fact that they were able to do this, just destroy the Dolphins, is got to be – it's got to make you feel good. Not maybe necessarily as a fantasy player, but as a Bills fan, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried for fantasy either. Like, they're going to have games where it's going to be tight and Josh Allen's going to do his thing.
Right. Jumping over to Sunday. The surprise probably of Sunday was that the New Orleans Saints absolutely destroyed the Cowboys, beat them 44-19.
Massacre.
Crazy town.
Massacre.
And Alvin Kamara went for 4 touchdowns on the Cowboys defense.
I love seeing guys on Twitter talk about, I played Alvin Kamara on Christmas like 4 years ago, and I'm playing him again. What is happening?
Yeah, I pour one out for all the people that had to go deal with Alvin Kamara on Sunday, because there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
You lost.
You did. You lost. There's nothing else for it. You lost. Other than Alvin Kamara, because I guess my question with him is this something that's going to continue? Because he has looked very good through 2 weeks, and the Saints have looked very good through 2 weeks. After the Panthers game, I thought it was a fluke. But
that's what I was going to say.
The Cowboys,
everybody said, like, the Panthers are a nobody team. They don't matter. Like, it was like playing a JV team. Okay, well, what about on the road against Dallas?
It's a bit different. I think the only thing that I saw that was moderately interesting was that once again Rashid Shaheed had a deep bomb. He had a 70-yarder. He ended up with 4 for 96 and was the leader in the clubhouse there for receivers. Chris Olave did have 4 for 81, so he was still solid. But it's 2 weeks in a row now where Rashid Shaheed has caught a deep bomb and come through for fantasy. And obviously you don't predict that every single week, but to get it 2 times in a row, it is interesting.
I mean, Chris Olave is, I'm assuming, pulling a lot of the coverage, so it's allowing those one-on-one isolations with Rashid Shaheed. He's not going to do it every week, but as of right now, he's on pace to do it every week. Chris Olave finally had some targets, so that was nice.
Finally got himself.
Targets.
He had 6 of them. A whole whopping 6.
Well, surprisingly, they only threw the ball 16 times. Like, it was another game. The Saints dominated on offense, and the numbers are still just weird. Weird numbers.
It is it's 2 straight weeks when, for whatever reason, their offense has been incredibly efficient, and it's 2 game scripts you can throw out for fantasy. I don't think we can really put a whole lot into the Saints. We don't know what the Saints are yet. They have destroyed 2 teams, and I don't think we know what they are.
Well, judging, if you're going off Devon Achane from last year, like that kind of mindset, every time he's on the field, he's the best player. Well, so far, every time the Saints have been on the field, they've been the best team.
That is true. For the Cowboys, I don't even have anything to say. I did not learn anything new from the Cowboys on Sunday. CeeDee Lamb is still good.
CD is CD. The running backs are still. I'm not touching any Dallas running backs whatsoever. Brandon Cooks, after a big week 1, didn't do much week 2. Not a guy you. CD's the only guy you can trust, really. And you can trust Dak for fantasy, but that's about it. And no Jake Ferguson either. Schoonmaker was okay, I guess. Jalen Tolbert had 9 targets, 6 catches.
I did notice that, yeah. I don't even...
Do with that what you will.
I don't know what to do with that. Jalen Tolbert has never been anything, but he was good on Sunday. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. Buccaneers pulled this one out. We were talking before we hit record. I'm just going to go straight over here to
just jump
the
to
Lions. Jameson Williams has done it now 2 weeks in a row. It was not a fluke. He is 5th in the NFL through 2 weeks in targets, and he had 11 more on Sunday. I don't know what to do with Jameson Williams, but it's not fluky anymore.
Start him, I guess.
I guess my question is, do you rank him as a top 24 option, or is he still sort of in that 24 to 30 range where you're not quite committed, but he's intriguing?
I'm going to play it safe for now, and I'm going to go with the 24 to 30 option. Very intriguing, especially in best ball. Definitely in deeper leagues, 12-team leagues with big lineups, you definitely start him. It still scares me in more shallow leagues just because there are a lot of mouths to feed in Detroit. A lot of mouths to feed. We know Amon-Ra is going to get his. Week 1 was the fluke for Amon-Ra. He went back to his normal self with 19 targets on Sunday. 11 catches, 100 yards. I think we're pretty confident. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, they're split in the backfield, but we know each one of those guys is going to get theirs. Jahmyr Gibbs, another 7 catches, 7 targets. Gibbs is going to get his. So that leaves the other 2 guys, the big-name guys in the offense, and maybe they're where we should spend most of our time here. You got Jameson and Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta, people are freaking out about right now, because he has not done anything the first 2 weeks.
He was too highly drafted. I don't want a victory lap, but I want a victory lap.
We did say this. You actually won me over with that argument at the very end, so thank you that I don't have any Sam Laporta.
You are welcome, sir. He had 2 catches for 13 yards on Sunday, and there was a point, I think it was probably in the 3rd or 4th quarter, when I texted you and I was like, Sam Laporta has 1 target right now. What are we doing with this information? Because he was so good last year and he's done nothing.
It's not that Sam Laporta is bad, and I think it's kind of a Jameson Williams just emergence breakout kind of thing, because the other 3 guys in the offense I think are established and aren't going anywhere. Gibbs isn't going anywhere, Montgomery's not going anywhere, and Amon-Ra's not going anywhere. Obviously, Amon-Ra's the best player in the offense. They are extremely focused on the run and using Jahmyr Gibbs, so him and Montgomery are both going to get theirs. And it's Williams' breakout that is killing Sam Laporta. because he wasn't really a factor last year. So all of those extra 11 targets, 2 of them went to Jameson Williams maybe, and then the rest went to Sam Laporta. Well, now it's flip-flopped. Laporta's not getting the targets, and Jameson Williams running wide open down the field.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked by this Jameson Williams emergence. Like, normally, and by normally I mean 95% of the time, when you hear camp hype about a player, it is smoke. It just doesn't translate. But the coach speak coming out of Detroit Lions camp was that Jameson Williams was legit, was turning heads, and looked like he was actually destined for a breakout. And through 2 weeks, there is not an ounce of exaggeration about what they were saying about Jameson Williams. He had 120 yards in week 1.
He was a first-round draft pick.
Oh, yeah. He was the number 1 drafted receiver in his draft class.
Yeah.
Still, I'm shocked. And I'm very excited for him because I happen to just have him on the bench of a couple dynasty leagues where I don't know, man. I couldn't trade him, so I just kept him, and now he's good. And it's great.
And you get to victory lap over everybody. Not because you knew it. It was because you got lucky nobody took him as a throw-in.
Sometimes it is better to be lucky than good. This is one of those times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For the Buccaneers, I don't have a ton.
I almost put Chris Godwin as a my guy, and I wish I had, because they weren't. That was another one that they weren't kidding. They're like, Chris Godwin, we're going to put him back on the slot, and guess what? When Chris Godwin's in the slot, he's a beast, man. Mike Evans does his thing on the outside, and then Chris Godwin just destroys it in the middle of the field.
We also have another week where Rachaad White looks like the worst running back running the football maybe ever. He had 10 carries for 18 yards yet again.
If I may,
Bucky Irving wasn't good.
You and I both have said on the show, we do not think he is a good player.
He's not. He's a great pass catcher, but he's not a good running back. And he keeps every time he steps on the field, he proves us right because he's just not a good runner of the football, which is
all
crazy.
He does is catch 7-8 passes a game. Well, that's great in PPR. He didn't even do that this week, though.
No, he did not. It is wild. Okay, let's go over here to the Packers and Colts. The Packers ended up winning this one without Jordan Love, 16-10.
This one's going to sting you a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Do we just rip the Band-Aid off? How do we want to do this one?
Let's do the Packers first. Let's make it wait.
Okay,
is there a quarterback competition? I don't know if Jordan Love has a job when he comes back.
Yes, there's a quarterback competition because Malik Willis went 12 of 14 for 122 yards and a pick.
No, he didn't throw a pick.
I mean a touchdown, sorry. A touchdown, not a pick.
Hey, that's almost 90% completion percentage. That's over 90% completion percentage. And he's got rushing upside. That's a beast right there.
Got a heck of a day.
But on the real, Josh Jacobs, take the fumble away. Josh Jacobs is one of the few true workhorse backs in the league right now. He is a true 3-down workhorse. He's getting all of it.
Yeah, they brought in Marshawn Lloyd, who made his debut in week 2, and he was still not much of a factor in this one. He did have 6 carries, but Josh Jacobs with 32 totes.
Especially with the contract that the Packers gave Josh Jacobs, even with Marshawn Lloyd and the backup running backs in there, I expect them to just use and abuse him.
Yeah, I would too. I would be shocked if he doesn't have 270-plus carries this year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Colts. Let's talk about Anthony Richardson. We probably need to have a come-to-Jesus moment. Might have jumped the gun. Might have jumped the gun.
Yeah, the Josh Allen comparisons happened for him last week, and he kind of scored the same amount that Josh Allen did this week, but for different reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons. The thing with Richardson is last week you got to see the best and the worst of Richardson, and this week you only got to see the worst of Richardson. So, I don't know, man. He's still a top 10 fantasy football option, but we have now seen what happens when he's really bad on the football field. I think it still came out to like 10 fantasy points, so it wasn't like the worst performance ever, but it was not great, and he was terrible IRL on the field.
Yeah, no, you don't. You definitely don't love what you saw there. And, it's like you said, there is always that factor of Anthony Richardson that he might just not be very good right now. So,
yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, I think,
his...
warrants a little bit of conversation too. Had 100 yards rushing, but I think I saw where he wasn't on the field in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
And they said it was because they didn't scheme up any passing plays or running backs because they were down and trying to throw their way back into the game. But It's still weird.
That is interesting. I didn't see that. I still finished with 100 yards, no touchdowns, but
really efficient.
He looked very good. He was probably the only bright spot. Although I think you could say Alec Pierce might be a bit of a surprise so far this season. He had the big bombs in week 1, and he had 50 yards and a touchdown again here in week 2.
Michael Pittman is struggling for you in fantasy right now. I don't know if that's necessarily a Michael Pittman thing, and that's more of an Anthony Richardson struggling to get in the ball because he's leading the team in targets. He's just not getting the ball. He's not getting good throws.
That's what it is. It's an Anthony Richardson problem more than it is a Michael Pittman problem, I think.
Yeah.
Jets
It will get better, but it's tough right now.
The Jets pulled this one out, won 24-17. I think, let's see here.
It's another weird one, man.
It is another weird one. Big picture for the Jets. Let's just go straight to the Jets here. Big picture things here. Garrett Wilson was a bit disappointing. Breece Hall looks amazing. I don't even think we need to talk about him. Braylon Allen was a bit of a surprise, but I think my two takeaways were I expect more from Garrett Wilson, and he's not delivering. I don't know why. And Braylon Allen just randomly gets 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm not panicking on Garrett Wilson because I think he has I did on the numbers earlier today. He's got like a 30% target share right now, so it's just the offense overall is struggling. So Garrett Wilson is not playing bad. The offense is just not doing well. He's still getting his targets. Breece, not a whole lot to say. I will say Braylon Allen concerned me slightly for Breece. Not that Breece is going to be bad, but when you've got another back with a similar skill set who is playing as well as Braylon Allen did, because he looked really good every time he touched the ball, it's something I would say just more to keep your eyes on as a potential slight ceiling capper for Breece.
I have no concerns for Breece, but maybe you've got something where Braylon Allen has a slight bit of standalone value.
Breece is, he's going to hurt Breece's value incredibly. He's not going to hurt Breece's value. I still think he's a top 3 back, but I could see him capping him just a little bit. He's not getting every touch out of the backfield.
Fair enough. We'll wait and see. We'll put some eyeballs on it, and we'll just see how that one plays out.
It's just a situation to just keep your eye on it.
On the other side, Will Levis looked like he might have gotten himself almost benched on Sunday with, yet again, maybe the dumbest play all weekend.
I saw a picture. They had this side-by-side on Twitter. It was like the week 1 where he's got his hands on his head after the pick.
Yeah.
And then the other one where he's upside down throwing the ball. And did you see that? I saw like a video of the coach, like as he's doing it, he's coming off the field. I see the coach, what are you doing?
That Brian Callahan.
It doesn't even make sense to attempt that. Just
No.
get on the ground.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. You saw Calvin Ridley finally have a good week for the boys.
Thank goodness.
Tajay Spears got injured, so he didn't end up doing a whole lot. Tony Pollard kind of handled things.
Tony Pollard looks great, man.
He does look very solid.
Everybody was worried about this
does look
being a
quite
50-50 split. He looks great.
Yeah, he's not giving up his role. We can see that for sure. I don't know. The Titans are one of those teams where I don't have any opinions about anything wearing a Tennessee Titans logo.
Rude.
They're just going to be so mediocre. I do not care about any of them.
It's not very nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, 49ers Vikings. Where do you want to go here? There's quite a bit to digest.
Let's just pop in with the 49ers quick first. Or not the Vikings quick first. Justin Jefferson banged up, but they said he's probably going to be okay. Before that, Jets was in prime form with a 97-yard touchdown. Was awesome.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. When you see the notification that he's injured and leaving, your heart sinks. But you know it's okay because he did get you a 97-yarder. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You never want to see that. But I think the surprise so far of the season has been that Sam Darnold is perfectly capable of supporting Justin Jefferson as a fantasy asset. Sam Darnold has looked very solid through 2 weeks.
Yeah, surprisingly solid. J.J. McCarthy even going to have a job when he comes off IR?
They might just, well, yes. I mean, he will have a job. But Sam Darnold is hitting all the layups, which is something he's never been able to do. And it's quite impressive.
In Sam Darnold's defense, I never said he was good, but if you just defend him a little bit, because the Jets are a horrible situation, went to an even worse situation in Carolina, and now you got KOC, who's a great offensive mind, great play caller. I mean, it's the first time he's ever had that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good offensive line. He's got weapons. He's got a good play caller. It's a great situation. But it's just nice that Sam Darnold isn't screwing it up for everyone else. He's just staying the course, being very solid, helping everybody out, which is what you love to see.
Yep.
For the Niners, Debo had himself a great day, got injured. Jordan Mason continued right where he left off last week. He had 100 yards and another touchdown. He is...
Would you agree that Jordan Mason is a full-on RB1 with Christian McCaffrey out?
That's what I was about to ask you. I was like, where would you have him while McCaffrey's gone? You probably have him somewhere between 6 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, he's must-start option territory option.
For
obviously.
sure. For sure. Yeah, if you weren't starting him already, he needs to be in there. I don't know why you wouldn't, but
and especially now with Debo out and missing time, he's going to get 25 carries a game.
Probably. Yeah. I think we were talking before we hit record. It seems now, so Debo's out. Christian McCaffrey's out. Well, we already said this. Brandon Ayuk needs to step up. You just want to see him, I guess, show signs of life more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably not been in incredible football shape. It's taken him a while, but now with Debo out, the volume he's going to get, you're probably going to start seeing more from Brandon Ayuk.
Let's go over to the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Oh,
we talk winners first here. All right, I give you the floor to talk about your 16-target champion, Mr. Jackson Smith-Njigba.
We've been saying it, haven't we? At least I have.
I
knew he was good. I knew it. I knew he was good. We've just been waiting on the breakout. it looks like he is finally. I mean, he played significantly more snaps last week than he had all of last season. So his snap share went up. The passing volume finally went up for the Seahawks, and Tyler Lockett was a non-factor basically. He looked like he had Geno's full trust, like Geno was throwing it to him over the middle, hitting him on those throws when he had to have it. He's throwing it to JSN. And DK still got his. JSN had 14 targets. DK had JSN had 16. DK had 14. JSN had more catches at 12 for 117. DK obviously had the big long touchdown, 10 catches, 120 yards. I'm excited because I was waiting on it. I was ready for it to happen. Wanted it to happen. I like him a lot as a player. I was going to ask you because obviously, I've been high on JSN. When can we start trusting him as like a weekly starter? Because 16 targets does not feel fluky. 16 targets feels like, that's a guy who's well integrated in the offense and they count on him.
Yeah, 16's not fluky, but you do want to see it happen more than once because this is an excellent game, and it is one you want to see, but it's basically the only excellent game he's ever had. So you want to see it happen again. It's kind of like with Jameson Williams. It happened the first week where he had 120 yards in the touchdown. And you're like, oh, that's really interesting. Haven't really seen that one before. And then he does it again, and you're like, okay, this is legit. If JSN goes out and has 70-plus yards next week, it's okay. It's time to buy in. He's legit. He's here.
Fair enough.
I was also very excited that JSN having the day he had did not come at the expense of DK Metcalf having an awesome day as well. That was super exciting to see the my guy come through as well, and Tyler Lockett just sort of go away because that's what we've all been wanting.
Tyler, please leave us alone.
Just go keep doing real estate.
To do well without you.
It was a beautiful thing. For the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson once again had a billion carries, had a touchdown.
Workhorse.
He was solid.
Workhorse.
Absolute workhorse. Hunter Henry had 8 catches for 100 yards on 12 targets. Nobody else did anything at all. I don't know if that's a product of Jacoby Brissett just had a homing device in Hunter Henry's jersey or what, because the other leading receiver was Jalen Polk with 2 catches for 12 yards.
I think I just don't trust any passing options. I think that's what the issue is that the Steelers have. I'm not touching any. I like Jalen Polk for Dynasty, but that's it.
Fair enough. That's all I've got for that one. Okay. Commanders, Giants.
Not a whole lot to break down there.
Not a whole lot. Commanders, Giants. The number 6 overall pick went and had himself a breakout of all breakouts. 18 targets, 10 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown. A 60+% target share. Malik Nabers, do a bow, my friend.
You like to see that.
That is
insane. To see that. And what's crazy is he could have had more because I think he dropped like a big pass from Daniel Jones late in the game.
He did. He had a 4th down drop that honestly is very crucial.
Could have been worse.
It just blows my mind that there were 27 targets and Malik Nabers had 18 of them.
I think you texted me Sunday, and we'll get to Marvin Harrison Jr. in a minute, but if he hadn't done what he'd done, I would have almost been there. You were like, when do we put Malik Nabers in the top 5 dynasty receivers? And I was like, let me hold off until I see more from Marvin, and then Marvin popped. But, wow. And I guess I don't want to I don't want to freak out too much just yet because Washington's defense is very, very bad. It is a very bad defense. So, but still, this is the reason, like, a lot of people were in, not in this, I mean, obviously the talent, but, like, who else is getting the ball for the Giants? It's Malik Nabers, period.
Yeah, I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson had 12 targets in week 1, did nothing here against the Commanders. It was just, I mean, it really just was the Malik Nabers show. They targeted him early. They targeted him often. And Daniel Jones did not look like the worst quarterback in football on Sunday, which is what you want to see.
Well, that's because the Giants' defense is bad, or the Commanders' defense is bad. That's not a Daniel Jones thing.
Yeah, that's probably true. On the flip side, Jaden Daniels, once again, very efficient, super low ADOT on all of his targets. No touchdowns for Jaden Daniels, but he looked good. He didn't do anything stupid, which is what you want to see.
Better than Caleb can say.
Lot. Honestly, yeah. Oh God. Well,
I mean, you know, I like Jaden Daniels. It does make me happy to see him. I don't know, not necessarily. Dang it! I'm watching the Falcons game. Bijan's dropping passes. But it makes me feel good that he's being smart with the football. 23 to 29. That's really good. Obviously, you still want to see the touchdowns come. Man, the weapons just are not there right now. Like Terry McLaurin had 6 catches, 8 targets for 22 yards. I mean, what is happening? I mean, but Brian Robinson though.
Yep.
Man.
17 for 133. Goodness gracious.
He's solid. He is solid. Austin Eckler's a non-fighter. He's the running back there. He is the RB1 in Washington.
Are you still on the Jaden Daniels as a top? Where were you at with him last week? Was it top 5 fantasy quarterback?
I had him top 6, I think. I had him at 6.
Are we still
I've still
at
got
6?
Him locked in top 10 for sure. I mean, okay. Before I put my foot in my mouth, who else? I'm trying to think of the names up there. Obviously, you got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. I'm still going to put Anthony Richardson top 5 just because of his potential. Lamar Jackson. And it's either Jaden Daniels or Mahomes still probably. Because, I mean, Jaden's just got the rushing upside, man. He had another 44 yards. If he can just not be stupid throwing the ball with his rushing upside, this was a floor week for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you. When you don't have the touchdowns and you still look very solid, I'm in.
Yeah.
Chargers, Panthers. I'm not going to say a single word about any Carolina Panthers player. So we're just going to get that out of the way.
We need not spend any time there. Let's move on.
Perfect. J.K. Dobbins, once again, 100-plus yards rushing, 131 and another touchdown. Came through for me as a start of the week.
Legit.
That is an absolutely beautiful thing to see. And not only that, Quentin
go ahead.
Johnston.
Don't say it. Don't you freaking say it.
5 for 51, 2 touchdowns. Is it safe to say he is an actual NFL player? He is not a complete flame-out bust.
He is in the NFL. We can say that. He is in the NFL.
I was just so happy for him because he was so bad as a rookie. I mean, maybe the worst rookie receiver I've ever seen.
Panthers. He played the Panthers. Let us not freak out. He played the Panthers.
He did play the Panthers. But in week 1, he wasn't awful. So I guess it was, okay, there's something there. I think it was like 4 for 38, 4 for 40, something like that in week 1. It's like, okay, it's not amazing, but it's not awful. You can work with it. And then in week 2, you have 2 touchdowns. It was interesting.
It is something to keep your eye on. I'll give you that. There's no pass catchers there. There's nobody. We did mention it a couple times that, we need to prepare ourselves slightly for the fact of what if he is the guy just because there's nobody else there outside of Ladd McConkey.
Right. And then it's both of them are first-round picks. Well, McConkey's a second-round pick. But, what are the odds that draft capital was just not a total fluke?
I'm not freaking out and going to clamor all over him just yet.
Fair enough.
I've got one decent game and a whole season of badness.
Of badness. Okay, Browns Jaguars. Talk about badness. That was something.
Is Trevor Lawrence even a streamer at this point?
I don't know, dude. He ends up with.
These Clemson quarterbacks are heisting the NFL right now. Absolutely robbing them point blank.
Yeah, my gosh. Trevor Lawrence went 14 for 30. They just look so dumb. They look so stupid on the field. And it's really frustrating because Christian Kirk was my guy, and he looks so bad.
He looks washed. That's how bad he looks.
I don't understand it. He has never looked this bad ever. I don't know if it's a coaching thing, if it's a Trevor Lawrence thing. I don't know what it is, but they just look so bad. They're awful. They're terrible.
It is not. Brian Thomas Jr. looks good, and I guess I can't even freak out about his performance because he had 4 targets and 2 catches. They just, for 94 yards, they were all bombs he caught.
Right. Is it safe to say, though, he is the wide receiver 1 in the offense?
Oh, yeah. I think it's safe to say that. Evan Ingram didn't play. That's noteworthy. Obviously not last week, but he has been a target hog for them.
Yeah.
And I guess he was tied for the team leads targets last year just because everybody got 4. That was it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Cleveland's defense is good, so you can read some of that in there, but it's weird, man.
At running back, Tank Bigsby had no snaps, no stats whatsoever at all, which I found interesting after he was pretty good in week 1.
Yeah. Etienne's still the guy there.
He got saved by whatever it was that got Tank Bigsby in the doghouse. I don't know if he got injured and it wasn't really reported all that much, or if he just pissed somebody off and peed in Doug Peterson's cornflakes. I don't know.
Yep. I don't know. We'll see.
For the Browns.
Breaking news. A.J. Brown is now expected to miss multiple weeks with a hamstring.
You're kidding.
Just came across ESPN.
You're kidding me.
I am dead serious.
What is... Oh, my gosh.
Your Mully team is dead right now, dude.
It's off
dead.
to such a bad start. My IR spots are full. Oh, my gosh.
And you still got
A.J.
2
Brown.
spars you can't even put on it.
A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey are all on IR.
That is a tough beat, man.
You could argue that those are my 4 best players in that league.
Yeah.
Goodness
It would be a
gracious.
sound argument.
Goodness gracious. And I have him in log. Beautiful.
Anyway.
What were we talking about? The Browns? Gross.
Jerome Ford is still a flex starter. Everybody else is nothing.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Anything
great.
else you want to say there?
No, Deshaun Watson's the quarterback. I'm done. I'm out. No, thank you. I want to talk about the Raiders and Ravens.
Oh, boy.
Let's let's just do it. I'm going to do it. Brock Bowers is the tight end 2 in redraft and the tight end 1 overall in Dynasty Fantasy Football.
I would tell you no, but I can't confidently put anybody over him other than Trey McBride.
This It's just, it blows my mind because tight ends don't do this. 9 for 98 on 9 targets, by the way, in week 2. He had 9 targets in week 1. I think it was, I'd have to look at what the actual stat line was. I'm just flabbergasted because he is playing tight end unlike any other tight end right now. No other tight end is getting the volume and then turning that volume into production the way that Brock Bowers is currently doing it.
No, it's insane, dude. And Gardner Minshew going 30 for 38 obviously helps.
Oh, yeah.
No running game whatsoever, so it was all through the pass, but you texted me as another one yesterday, like, when do I start Brock Bowers? And it was during the 1 o'clock games, and I was like, I don't know, dude, because you got Bowers and Kelsey in one of our dynasty leagues. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I still got to see it. Like, give Travis Kelsey more than one game. And Travis Kelsey went out there and I think had like 2 targets this week.
Dude, he's a decoy. I heard somebody say it that he is the sports car covered up by the canvas in the garage that you pull out once every like 3 weekends. They just don't use him. I don't know why. It might just be because he's old.
It's gonna happen eventually. Like, he's gonna have one of those pop weeks, and then we're like, oh, there's Kelsey.
It will happen.
Right now, the Young Bucks, dude.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen every week. Anyways, I just had to get that off my chest.
And the Chiefs' offense just looks weird. Just looks weird.
It does. It does look weird. They look like they've been a bit out of sync. Yeah, Devontae Adams, business as usual. Let's see. There's nothing else here for the Raiders. For the Ravens, Mark Andrews,
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers look pretty good.
We may have missed.
I don't know if we missed. It might have been 1 week, but he did look pretty solid.
11 targets.
Yep. I think part of this is Isaiah Likely came back down to earth and had 2 catches for 26 yards.
Yeah. Mark Andrews didn't have an amazing game, but had enough to where like you're like, okay, phew, like he's not gonna kill me this year. So 5
you can work with
4 catches, 50 yards, 5 targets, but that was still second on the team. So
you can
live with it.
Yeah. Derrick Henry came back in, 18 carries, 84 yards. The game script was a little bit different. They didn't have to throw the ball a ton.
The snap percentage is weird is just the crazy part to me when you look at it. Is like, obviously Justice Hill does nothing for you running the ball wise, but I think the number was like Henry only played like 40% of the snaps, whereas Justice Hill played 60% of the snaps.
That is so wild.
So like it's almost like they tipped their hand. Like, if Henry's on the field, we're handing it to him. Otherwise, he's not going to play.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, this is now 2 straight weeks where the Ravens have thrown the ball a pretty decent amount. And I think it's just that in neutral game scripts, they actually do throw the ball a pretty decent amount. 34 attempts. And last year they were killing people left, right, and center. So you don't have a whole lot of those neutral game scripts. But we've now had 2 neutral scripts, essentially, back-to-back weeks, and they have thrown the ball a pretty decent amount, which it is exciting. I just don't know how much that will continue.
Yeah, Lamar just doesn't look like a world beater right now.
No, what are they, 0-2?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Okay, Cardinals-Rams.
I think we spent enough time on the Rams between talking about Puka and Kupp and Kyron. I don't think we need to spend any time there.
Fair enough. Hop on your soapbox. Grab your megaphone.
I don't know if it's really a soapbox. It was more just like, dang. This is why you do not panic after week 1. This is why. 8 catches. No,
8 targets.
4 catches. 8 targets, 4 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely mega week from Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray himself, elite quarterback option, 3 touchdowns. I think he had another 60 rushing yards. And James Conner, 122 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
Cardinals offense, solid, spectacular.
They just steamrolled the Rams. When you start off the way they started with 3 bombs essentially to Marvin Harrison in the first quarter, and you just spot them 14 to start, that's a heck of a way to get a game rolling.
Hard to get out, and the Cardinals just didn't slow down the whole game. Like, they just were moving the ball and moving the ball and moving the ball.
Yeah, it was impressive. Steelers, Broncos. The Steelers once again won in the most ugly fashion you've ever seen possible. There was, 1 touchdown in this game?
Just
Yikes.
It sucks. It sucks watching the Steelers, man. Because, like, they're going to keep it competitive because of their defense. It's just a slugfest.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's
not fun.
Yeah.
Justin
Even George
Fields, I think we
Pickens
can kind of temper things. Go ahead about George Pickens.
Well, even George Pickens was a victim of the ugliness because last week he did look good, and you were like, oh, can we talk about George Pickens? And I was like, no, they suck. And then this week he gets pulled under and is struggling for breath with 2 for 29 because their offense is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, I think we can temper it a little bit. He doesn't look Chicago bad, but just the way their offense is, like, he's not running the ball for 100 yards either. He's just kind of doing what he has to do, and that's it.
Yeah. For the Broncos, Bo Nix is still figuring things out. Not a ton really to say there. I guess the only thing I noticed in this one, it still doesn't look good. The only thing I noticed was Javonte Williams was not great running the ball. Actually just was terrible running the ball. But he did show signs of life with 5 catches for 50 yards, which you like to see.
Yeah. I mean, and factor in a little bit, too. It's just a tough Steelers defense, man. Like, it's going to be hard to, like, sit here and predict, like, oh, this is what it's going to look like. I'm like, man, it's one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL they went up against with a rookie quarterback.
It was, I think, if you're a Javonte Williams owner, it was nice to see him and not Jaleel McLaughlin with the targets and the receptions. And he outcarried him 11-3. It didn't turn into anything on the ground, but it was still nice to see.
Yeah.
Okay, Bengals
gosh,
Chiefs.
Kirk Cousins almost throwing
What do you
picks.
do now?
Almost
beautiful.
Bijan looks great, but Kirk looks awful.
Beautiful. Where do you want to go here with Bengals and Chiefs?
I guess let's start with Chiefs. I don't know, man. Mahomes right now is not a high-end QB1.
He has not looked that way through 2 weeks.
I mean, this is not and Mahomes is a bad quarterback. Obviously, he's the best in the NFL. But the way their team is right now and the way their game plan to win games is, he's not producing for fantasy. And he threw 2 picks. One was really uncharacteristic. One was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen by a cornerback. I don't know if you saw that.
Insane. That was insane. The Odell Beckham catch, reaching behind the head.
Absolutely nutcase interception.
That was ridiculous.
Xavier Worthy back down to earth. Rasheed Rice, beast mode.
Yeah,
The
Rasheed
deep
Rice.
touchdown. Not just slant guy this week. Not just slant guy.
Yeah. I think with him, what do we say? That he is the engine of the offense week in and week out. You can trust him. And he showed up again. He was good, and nobody else really was, to be honest with you. I don't think they'll be this bad all the time, but
I don't either. I'm honestly upset that Hollywood. We didn't talk about this. They said Hollywood's not going to play at all this year, so that's great. And I'm really annoyed because I would like
done
to
for the
see
year?
Yeah, I think they said he's not going to play in the regular season.
Wow.
So I guess they're hoping to have him back for the playoffs, but not the regular season. Which annoys me because
Wow.
I would really like to see the offense with all three receivers healthy. But obviously we're not going to get that.
That's tragic. I thought he was just out like 4 or 5 weeks.
No, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check, but I'm like 99% sure they said like he's not going to play this year.
That is tragic. Yikes. Okay. How about your Bengals?
Yep, not expected to return this season.
Oh my gosh.
I was impressed with the Bengals. I kind of expected the Chiefs to blow them out, and they didn't. Joe Burrow, very efficient passing the ball, especially to the tight ends, man.
Yeah.
He was only targeting tight ends. It sucks for Jamar Chase. He was basically only a decoy the entire game. The Chiefs were double-teaming him the entire game. He got a couple catches in garbage time. I don't expect it moving forward. But the Bengals have got to get creative getting him the ball. Like, Jamar Chase looks pissed when he's playing out there. He looks angry. He wants to be the focal point, and he should be. And they're just kind of using him as a decoy. Granted, excellent Chiefs defense. Excellent Chiefs defense. Joe Burrow had a very Joe Burrow game. He was efficient, accurate, hit his guys. They just need some more help out there.
They are desperately awaiting the return of Mr. T. Higgins, I think.
They really need T. Higgins because you can't double team Chase when Higgins is out there, and their offense lacks creativity right now. So when you don't have creativity, it makes it very easy to take Jamar Chase out of the game.
Yeah.
Which can be a good thing. Like at certain times you saw, I mean, when Burrow can hit Mike Gesicki of all people, and he's tearing them apart that way because you're so focused on Chase. But it's hard to win games with taking Jamar Chase away and you're only left with tertiary pieces.
Right. Yeah. Let's go over here to the final game of Sunday. The Bears and Texans were the Sunday night game, and it was disgusting. Texans ended up winning 19-13. My initial thoughts were that Caleb Williams' stats do not look good. He did not look good on the field. I don't think it was a Caleb Williams problem. I think it was a Shane Waldron problem. I don't know if you remember this, but in the offseason, I was like, hey, you know who they just hired from the Seahawks? Mr. Shane Waldron, the guy who made Jackson Smith-Njigba not exist. I don't think he's a good play caller. They lack creativity. They don't. I don't know. I don't know what
Caleb
it is.
Can't sit here and scramble around. This ain't the Pac-12. Like you have got to give him layups. Like, and I think Caleb could be a superstar. He's got all the talent. He can make those wow plays with his athletic ability. But this ain't the Pac-12. Like, the Chiefs don't sit here and make Patrick Mahomes scramble around every play. Like, you've got to give him layups.
You got to give him easy things where guys can run off the catch. He was sacked 7 times, Caleb Williams. Yeah. That's not a recipe for success. He was seeing ghosts, as the Sam Darnold quote goes. There was nothing good there. And they couldn't run the ball.
He was getting planted out there.
Yeah, it was bad. DJ Moore was still solid, had 10 targets. Still didn't turn into a great fantasy day.
I argue with a lot of people in the offseason, and I think I can solidly say I've won that argument. They're like, dude, DJ Moore, like, I'm kind of scared of him with so many options. Is he even the alpha? Like, no, DJ Moore is the alpha.
Yeah.
The absolute undisputed alpha. He is the best player they have.
100%. For the Texans, the only thing that I really feel needs to be said here is that, yes, Nico Collins is 100% the alpha wide receiver 1 in the offense.
Dude,
it's not close.
Freaking stud, man. Absolute stud. I take back all. I mean, I think I was right to have my worries, but my worries have also been completely washed away. Nico is that guy.
Nico Collins is... I don't know where I want to rank him is the issue, but he's got to be in the top 10 somewhere. I just don't know how you go with him, which is what I'm slightly concerned about. But
you are going to have those weeks where it's going to be Diggs' game or Dell snags the long touchdown. But he's the consistent target hog alpha in that offense.
yeah. It is the beauty of having a stud quarterbacking your team.
Yeah.
That is all the games. Anything noteworthy from Monday night yet?
Saquon Barkley has all the juice in the world. He is carving our defense up. Bijan Robinson is looking like it's Bijan versus Saquon right now. Like, both of those guys are looking great. Jalen Hurts is not looking good. Kirk Cousins is not looking good. We get the news about A.J. Brown missing a few weeks. I don't know what you want me to do. He's missing Drake London. He's not throwing to Kyle Pitts. He's almost throwing an interception trying to throw it to Drake London. Now they're reviewing it right now, but I think it's going to be ruled an incompletion when he throws it short to Drake London. Put Penix in. Put him in. He can't be worse. He can't be worse right now.
He cannot be worse. Holy.
I don't know what you want me to say. This was a $100 million failed experiment. I get we're 2 weeks in, but I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated.
It's that Achilles monster, man.
I'm frustrated.
Anything else on week 2 before we hop out of here?
That's all I got.
That will do it from us. I'm about to go change a baby's diaper. Thank you all so much for listening to the show, for rating and reviewing. We'll see you all later this week when we're hitting you with our starts of the week and our week 3 preview. Have a good one, everybody.
Peace.